Hey Fred, nice
Hey,
to see you.
Fred. Good. Hey, Luca. Things are have been very busy lately.
Very extremely busy. Thanks a lot for for your patience. As you know, we had the two Falco releases in something like 2 weeks. Like the actual release, which was a massive release. I don't know if you read the notes,
Yeah.
the blogs and so forth. It was really a massive release, and
Mhm.
thanks a lot to everyone that helped, especially including Fred, who tested a lot of the stuff and managed to find a bunch of bugs before release. And then we noticed that there were still some bugs, so nothing critical. I mean, there was some certificates that we thought were fixed, but they weren't. And then,
Oh,
yeah,
no, I said, oh.
yeah. And then Fred knows about it as well. The security audit came in, and we wanted to get all the fixes out as soon as possible because, fortunately, in the security audit, there was nothing critical for security, nothing that warranted some, heavyweight patches for security.
Yeah,
So
I saw your note. You guys already addressed all of the things that yeah, were supposed to be addressed. That's awesome. Yeah, very good job.
thanks a lot. And on that note, since we're talking about security in one way, shape, or form, and it's still my favorite subject, we received some feedback from OSTIF, the foundation that was working with a pen testing company to do the audit for Falco, and actually they want they would be very happy to have some feedback from us in terms of course, how we dealt with the issues and our experience in general with the group. Because if you go on the OSTIF website, you will see that there are some posts for every audit that they do, and they want to make one for Falco as well. We already have everything in terms of security advisories published, because fortunately there was nothing critical and everything is fixed, so we can publish it. But they want, of course, their a bit of extra information on that, and I would probably ask Fred as well for some comments, because well, if you have any, because I before going back to them, I wanted to make sure that the people that are involved, that were involved with that, know that there's an article coming, and so you can give feedback if you want.
Sure.
And
Yeah, fair enough. Cool.
yeah, we got the email today, and so just wanted to share that. I guess. Hey, Thomas.
I was there, just letting you speak.
Sorry.
I was already there. I just keep
Cool.
quiet to let you speak.
Cool. Thank you. So I think Max was going to join as well. I'm going to ask him. Yeah, I was just finishing mentioning this was a long subject in terms of this time was very busy. The last few weeks for Falco were super busy. A lot of stuff going out, the massive release, the fixes, and making sure the security audit was fine. We had a ton of things to do. Max. A few more minutes, otherwise we can just start and pick up from where we left off. Because it's I think right now it's the right time to start with our actual activities on the repos and so forth. Before it was pretty hard because of all the release activity that was going on. It would have been hard to make changes that we're trying to propose here. And now I think it's probably the time to get more into the core of the matter and get some goals and some actions on the actual Falco repositories.
By the way, I saw that I was waiting for it. By the way, Conan 2 was released yesterday. I don't know if you'd had a chance to see it, Luca. So they changed things quite a bit. There's a big refactoring for Conan 1. And one of them I think was nice. You don't need to you should take a look at the sample project that they have with CMake. You know, you did the quick start for Conan 1. So the Conan 2 changed. You don't have to add those additional markers on the CMake file anymore. So they simplify things. It's more it seems easier to use, and perhaps we should take Conan 2, you know, as the POC for you know, doing 1 or 2 libraries for Falco, for the Falco libs. So yeah, I didn't have a chance to work on the POC, but I think we should use Conan 2 already, because it's quite different from the first one, the first release.
This is, I would say this is obvious, and since we work in open source, if there is some stuff to iron out, in this case, we can even contribute a little bit in case there are some small bugs and something like that.
Right. It's fresh out of the oven, yeah.
I have questions. One question is probably, is this compatible with what we had before, or are they building packages? I didn't look at it yet. You mentioned it right now.
It's compatible, but I think it's better. Before, remember, you had to change the CMake lists to add their tooling, right? You don't have to do that anymore. So now they only use the external file, and of course they probably have something else that does the wiring under the hood. But let me see here. I can point you to the link that I was following. There is a migration guide even, but they got started for it. Here. Yeah, you basically have the Conan file. You don't need to change your CMake a lot.
If you want to share our
I'm gonna share the link. Are we still waiting for Mac?
Yeah, well, if you have something to share, it's great, and then we can start thinking about.
So let me get a link and just post on the HackMG. Give me a second. Yeah, so this is the, I think, let me see if I can find the GitHub example. They shuffle things around. So where is the GitHub that I was following the other day? This one. Go back to one. They still work on their docs, but where is the value?
I am amazed by the fact that this worked. I clicked on share screen on my computer that I have here, and somehow it connected to the to the Zoom room that I'm in. I don't know how how I did it, but it worked. So that would be this.
Yeah,
this
I just
one.
put the link for the CMake stuff, and I'm looking for the GitHub for Conan.
So yeah, if you have the link, you can share it.
I found it.
Then Max didn't answer, so we can proceed.
Okay, so maybe we can. I mean, again, I didn't try like you did with Conan 1, but I thought that this is a little weird. So the second link that I posted, I don't know if you're seeing HackMD.
Let's get to the HackMD.
Yeah, I put your. By the way, we should put Toma there. I don't have his. Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me put Toma there as well.
Hey, Max.
Yeah, unless there are other things that you guys want to talk, we can quickly look into this. So the second link, right? The first one is the documentation. But the second link, if you look at the CMake lists file, you'll notice that it's very different from the one that you had for the first version of Conan. You see, they have an example for zlib, which I think we should also do for the libs. I cannot share my screen, by the way. I have an issue with Zoom. I'm getting an error every time I try to share.
I am sharing now, so that
the second link, yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, this is I think a complete rewrite of Conan. So you already gave us a little overview of the example for Conan 1, right? So if you go to CMake lists here, you will see the structure of the project is simpler. And you don't have to add that include that before you had to do for Conan 1, remember?
Yes.
Right, so it's much simpler. And I think one good candidate for us even to try for the libs would be zlib, right? We use zlib. So we just follow that example and try to do a POC with that. But essentially the tooling now takes the Conan file and is able to find the packages from the Conan repository or registry and do the wiring for you from outside. So there is a run examples here like you had before, but things got simpler in a way that you don't need to pollute your CMake lists with that basic setup that you had to do before.
I think if we are able to use this and in such a way that you only need to mess with Conan and the Conan file when you need to upgrade the dependency or add a new dependency, and the rest would just work, that would be something that we can sell to the other maintainers.
Exactly, and I was happy. I was happy about it because we don't need to mess with the CMake lists, which is not something we want to do. So let's see. I think we should give it a try. Whenever I free up a little bit, I'm in the middle of doing reviews for Usenix Security, the winter cycle. So it's a lot of, my spare time goes into reviews, but I will try to, those are long papers, 13, 14 pages. I will try to give it a shot, or whoever wants to do it. Also just let us know on the Slack channel, but I don't see it being too complex to do for zlib, at least for one library. So that's the goal. We will try for one, and then we can start, building from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea, and actually, I think that the comment that Max had before, that was how about we set some concrete goals for our working group and maybe start setting ourselves up for some little task by a specific date. For example, if we can manage to do a little demo of this at some point, or if we can manage to move forward a little bit from with one of the other tasks, that would be, I think that's the time to do it, or at least to discuss about it, because of the fact that the latest Falco release just got out, and so everyone that was working on that has actually much more time to do it. So Max, just wanted to ask you directly, because that's what we were discussing last time. What do you think about it, and how do you think we could set our goals for our working group? Because as I mentioned, Falco 034 is out, and there's some cool stuff that I think we can include in 035. That's going to be at the end of May. And so if we are realistic about what we want to get there, I think we can get something really nice done. What do you think, Max, or anyone else that can had ideas about that?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure what we could do for the next release. I think that first, maybe we need to make some decisions through the whole organization. Let's say, if you are talking about, for example, as bombs and signatures or provenance. Sorry, I'm just thinking loud. So maybe something like signatures can be something that can be achieved more easily, besides, for example, bombs.
So do you mean things like cosine? What type of signatures?
Yeah, signatures, I mean, of artifacts, and maybe we could start from container images, because we already signed, as far as I know, for example, Falco Sidekick with the cosine. And if we are going to decide how do we want to sign, in which format we store the signatures and how, then we can spread this implementation over all the projects.
Okay, I think that was one of the points that I wanted to raise today, because that's what happened during the last at some point in the Falco repo. We had our developer guy that said, why don't we sign, for example, the Falco scale image? And here we are more about how don't we sign everything that we everything that we do. So I agree with Max in the sense that we should probably start from. I think, at least in my view, we should probably start from the container images for all the software that we ship. In terms that of. So Thomas wrote a list of everything that we have and that we may want to sign. And of course, trying to start from everything might be a tiny bit too much. So we might want to start relatively small. And if stuff works, we can expand this to every artifact that we publish. Also because when we speak about signing, not only there is how do we want to sign and in which format, but in some cases, how do we want to verify the signature? So
Totally agree.
So I think we should start, and we could start by signing our main container images. So those would be all the images that the Falco pipeline generate in the And I also asked Carlos for a bit of input on the matter. However, we cannot really rely too much on Carlos because he's super busy, but we can try and we can get something. We can start getting something in the relevant organizations such as PRs into Falco and the related projects once we agree on what we want. Everyone that is familiar with this, what are our really our options in terms of the format that we can use to sign our container images? Because in my rather simplistic view, I have also tested and tried out the latest cosign, not really the latest, but cosign in keyless mode, and this looked very easy, actually maybe too easy, because I was able to sign simple images with really only a step in GitHub Actions, which sounded like this is the standard format. But there may be other formats and stuff that we didn't consider. So, of course, we should start by doing some kind of POC to make sure that this is the right approach. But for example, what did you have in mind in terms of other possible formats that are not cosign in keyless mode?
Personally, I expect that in a few months, at least for the storage format, there will be a standard that will be the OCI. So from the recent blog post from ChainGuard, they're already going to release at least I think an alpha or beta version. And anyway, is an experimental feature of cosign that is using the OCI artifact specification with the reference OCI APIs. So I think that cosign can be a good candidate, so that we can also go on because we are already using cosign, and OCI artifacts can be the storage format. And personally, I expect that an external tool like cosign signs container artifacts, and then verification, at least for the Falco artifacts in general across the organization. I mean, all the projects, verification can be done by Falco CTL in the official way, I'd say. But at the same time, also cosign can verify for sure.
So in terms of those points, I like the OCI standard, but I believe that when we want to start by signing all our container images, we have a problem there, that we are using a bunch of different registries, Docker image registries like Docker Hub, and I believe we have something on ECR as well, and something on GitHub container registry. And the problem that we had, I believe, with the OCI standard for storing signatures is the fact that not all container registries implement that. And I believe it's possible, but correct me if I'm wrong, that we wouldn't be able to use this OCI standard for our container images like the Falco one, because we wouldn't be able to upload the signatures to everywhere we try to upload our image to. And so in that case, uploading an image without the signature, in that case, probably would make it a bit weaker in terms, because when you try to verify a container image, if I understand it right, if it's a standard image and not an artifact, you use the cosign command line directly. So you just type one simple command, and it's so easy because cosign will say, this is valid, I'm happy with it. And probably people are expecting to use the cosign binary with no modifications to verify our images. So I think for the standard images, we probably want to go with the old style way of doing things. That would be adding the extra tag that weird tag that in fact contains the signature. Does what I just said make sense to you, or is
Do you mean the label in the container or a tag proper?
So what cosign does is that it creates an extra tag, another tag for the same image, and in that tag it doesn't store the image, but it stores the signature for the image. So when you run the cosign command line against an image, it will look for that special tag, it will parse it and verify the signature, and if it's verified, it will say that all is good. And it's hackish because it's a tag, and tags are not supposed to use, I mean, they can be used for anything, but it's a bit hackish. So there is a new specification from OCI, that's the one that we discussed the first time we met, that OCI refers, that is what we would actually like to use in this situation. Unfortunately, it looks like this is not supported by all of the registries, if I got it right. This article that you shared,
I just put the link as a reference before. Yeah, it's been shared by Batu. So yeah, I think I agree, because the problem, the main problem here is that container registry not all the registry already support the reference API. So that can be a problem, at least for now. But to be honest, I wouldn't go with the way that cosign uses now officially, because for sure is a highly opinionated way, and I think, but that's my thought, that will disappear in the next month or maybe next year, in favor of the OCI standard of managing artifacts and references to images.
So my question is, I agree with the fact that this is hackish, and this is what stopped us before. So before we thought, well, maybe we don't know what to do. But the problem is that I know for a fact that this, like you said, will disappear, because as soon as registries will start implementing this feature, this will go away. But the problem, and I think you know more than me on this, is that we don't publish our Falco images on only just one registry. And so we would have to wait until all those registries will implement the new way to sign images, and then we will be able to do it. I think maybe it's something, this would stop us because there's no other way, unless there is another way. But in this case, we would just be waiting maybe a long time, because we also have Docker Hub and other registries that might implement these new features maybe in more than a year. So we don't know exactly how it works. On the other hand, I 100% agree with what you said in terms of signing other artifacts, like our plugins. I think we should just get one registry that implements that and use the proper way of doing it and implement it in Falco CTL. So in this way, since our artifacts are managed by Falco CTL, that tool will be able to do everything: download, verify the signature, and even reject the artifact if the signature is invalid or if it's requested. So to summarize, I think we can go with, but this can be a matter of discussion. We can ask other people what they think. We can go with getting the old, not great way of doing things for the basic container, for like the Falco image, the driver loader image, and this stuff that we deploy in production, running as with the highest possible privileges, just to have something, even before. Yes.
Luca, quick question. What registries today do not support OCI artifacts?
The artifacts are supported, but the referrer API, which is what we were discussing, OCI refers.
I see. So
there is something that's maybe this article actually says in OCI supported, and the problem is the registry. I think they have the registry needs to support this specifically, but I don't think I've seen a list of registries that actually already supported. Well, Docker Hub does support it.
It does, yeah. I was looking at it, so I was just wondering.
It supports OCI artifacts,
but not reference. Yeah.
But the issue is the referrals are artifacts, right? That's specific ones for cosign, I guess.
OCI specification is considered a release candidate, full Docker Hub support, and the refers API is on the horizon. So it's a work in progress. And for example, the problem here is Falco is not distributed on just one registry. Actually, we had this issue where ECR was compromised, I believe, and people wanted to verify that their image was, Falco image was not tampered with, which is, of course, which makes a lot of sense. And the problem is that we wouldn't be able to support that until ECR supports the refers API, which we don't know when it is, and that makes us sad. That's my only line of reasoning here.
Yeah.
We could just a proposal. Maybe we could start with, with the cutting edge and standard way for the new project that will sign artifacts. For example, as you said, Luca, plugins, maybe plugins, and for the more critical like Falco Sidekick that already signed container image, we can stick with the stable way, and then as soon as the different registry will support the new referrers API, we can go maybe step by step later on migrating.
Yeah, I would migrate. That's basically my idea, and I think you understand what I say, because I already discussed this with Lorenzo as well, and it made us very sad. The fact that we couldn't use the new API made us very sad. So I absolutely agree with what you say, and the new way for plugins. And also this way, plugins won't have to deal with all the tags and the application and so forth, and we can actually have a real project that says this is how we want to sign everything. At the end, when all our registries that we use for the Falco image will support this, we can just migrate. So as you said, we, instead of publishing new tags, we will just publish other we'll publish other refers. So we will publish image refers, and that contains the signatures.
People are basically using tags, and the new way is using the referral API. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say that refers now are in an implicit way through tags names, and then with the reference API, there are a specification that is explicitly, yeah, you understood, refer artifacts to images. So artifacts which can be signatures, provenance, and so on.
It's more elegant for sure. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and also the registry then expose REST API that says these are all the artifacts that refer to this image. So you can look at an image and ask for all the artifacts that refer, for example, signatures and so on.
Very good. Yeah, cool.
And I think this is something that we can have, especially the stable part. I think we can have it. It shouldn't take a very long time to do it. We can try to assign our images. We can ask even Carlos when we get something if this is if this makes sense, since he is one of the experts on the subject. So I think we could already start and maybe in the same way that we want to do, the S-bombs by starting small. We can try starting small here as well. So we will find that there will be something more complex than we thought, and all these kind of things. So we can start moving forward. In that regard, Max or others, you had some ideas about how to set goals and how to communicate this, and I think this is something we should start doing. So I think we have even technically an idea of what is our next step, and to achieve that stretch goal that we have at the end. But how will you propose to move forward from here? Since you have been part of the working groups for Falco before, just making sure. Otherwise, we can simply write in the channel and say, hey, we can try by the next meeting, we can try to have just a toy project for something or something like that. What's your thought on the matter, and especially given the amount of time that you will be able to dedicate? I know that I will be able to dedicate a bit of time, not next week because it's going to be super busy, but then I will have a bit of time to dedicate to the matter. But I know that this activity will not have all the time in the world. What do you think?
This sounds good to me overall. Means the way I was thinking that if there is going to be any task division, then I can pick up on some task in the from the GitHub task list and just start executing on them. Personally, I will definitely be a bit more busy, and I'm doing a personal move. I'm moving from the state of Washington to Texas, so my next few weeks are busy, but I'll be able to still attend meetings and execute on some smaller tasks for sure.
Okay, so I think we can start by like our friend developer guy suggested. We can start. It's time to get a repository out for this. So I will actually take the task of setting up a repository for our little working group, because this way we can create GitHub tasks and we can add everything that we need for that. So I would be happy to
in alternative, we could use otherwise the evolution repository, as we are talking about evolution of our maybe it could be a next step. We start with our dedicated repository to the working group, and then
well, for sure, evolution. It's true that evolution contains this might contain this kind of things, but probably we might want to have the repository where we can store all the, for example, even the notes and everything else specifically for this. Maybe in evolution there could be, for example, the big tasks. Like I would maybe expect the evolution to have some large items such as assign everything consistently across the organization. So that is something that we can do in the meantime, and that's a part of the working group, but that's a large task that everyone can in the community can comment on, and actually, especially other maintainers will be able to comment on that. So that's I think it's a good point. So before that, I can do it. I would say so we can have some place where we get the discussion going, and that all the other maintainers can comment on. Regarding the repo, I would still take the task, but I will need to maybe discuss this with the others, with other maintainers. And if they agree to create the repo. So in terms of smaller tasks and things that we might want to do, we mentioned two things: SBOM, well, not SBOM actually, POC for Conan, and we have, and the other is POC for container image signing with cosine. Keyless signing, I would say. Anything that we could do right now, or anything that we can add as a large task? Maybe evolution could also contain something about the potential SBOM generation, probably. So like a big issue that says that we want to try and generate SBOMs, potentially.
And so, sorry, Luca, on the last point with the keyless approach for Falco, Sidekick, and so on, do you mean with the current way of cosine, or?
Yeah, so the key versus keyless is independent, I think, of the format. So keyless, I believe, means that instead of signing with a key that you have to manage, you use the actually GitHub Actions or your CI vouches for you, pretty much. So you sign it directly as a build step by using all the infrastructure, all the consign infrastructure along with the full seal and record. So you use the OIDC token in order to get an ephemeral key pair and then sign it with that, instead of having a key that you use. Do you think it's a matter of discussion whether to use a key or to use this approach, or do you think we can try and proceed with this approach? That's the only thing I was mentioning.
For me, it's good going with keyless approach, yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe also besides this, we can also provide a POC for the new artifacts like plugins with now experimental feature of cosine that uses OCI artifacts, maybe.
Yeah, I think those are probably the three easiest things that that we can do right now to proceed, to have something concrete. And we probably want to move forward, so have someone that takes care of them, and perhaps we can have a little demo. This meeting is now, I'll be setting it to once every 2 weeks, so maybe we can just discuss in the channel, and then when we have this little call, perhaps have a little demo so that people can ask questions or this kind of things. If there's anyone that wants to take these tasks, you can write in the channel. You can do it, and maybe I really want to get stuff going, get things going. So have the first things that we can show to ourselves and also to the Falco community at large. We can bring something also to the Falco community calls and to the other maintainers, especially for this part. There's going to be a lot of discussion, so it's good to have it first rather than sooner rather than later. That's for sure. And of course, I will update the channel on these topics. Anyone wanted to add something or wanted to add items to this?
Nothing much from my side.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for putting in efforts for this. And I know that this stuff is fascinating but hard, and we need to put some effort into it. We want to do it. So let's go ahead. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks, but I'll try to be active on the channel. Next week will be very busy for me, but I am making time for these activities in the next few weeks. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Have a good one. See you next time. Bye.
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 Bye.